What's up YouTube? Today we're going to be deconstructing one of my recent videos that I've posted a little while ago. We're going to be going through scene by scene on how to make some of the effects that I've designed. Yeah, so let's get right into it. So displaying now is the scene we're going to be deconstructing, starting from completely stock. We're going to be adding all the effects, the edge layers, and all of the matte finishes. Alrighty, so now that we have the clip on the timeline, the first thing you're going to want to do is just clip where you want it to start and finish. And for me, that's going to be right when the clip transitions. So we'll go ahead and clip that right here. So now we just have the isolated clip. The first thing you're going to want to do is go into your effects panel and type in color, and then click and drag lumetri color onto your video. And under settings, you go under basic correction, and then saturation, you're going to want to drag that all the way down. That's going to remove all the color behind the scenes, just so we have a nice black and white look to it. It is optional, but if you want to do a little bit further editing for the color and contrast, you can adjust the settings right here. So if you want a little bit less background noise, you can go ahead and adjust these. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, so now you're going to have something look like this, a little bit more refined. Next thing you're going to want to do is go back into your project file and create a new adjustment layer. Make sure it's the same settings that you have your sequence on. You're going to click and drag that over the top of this guy. After you've got everything graded just how you want, we're going to go ahead and duplicate this layer completely and drag it right on top. So now you have two layers, and then we're going to go back into our effects panel and we're going to search for find edges. Take this effect and drag it onto the top layer, and then in the settings you're going to go in and you're going to want to invert the layer. Now it's just going to show the highlights and the edge factors of the video. Alright, so go back into your effects panel and search for the invert tool under channel and drag that on, and then within the settings you want to go in and change it to saturation. That's going to give us a nice red look. You can also, if you'd like, use the color balance. Drag that on here. You can turn down both the green and the blue values. However, for me, if you can notice, it's a little bit darker of an effect, so I'll just do a comparison. So it's a little bit darker. So since I'm going for the brightness, we're going to keep using the invert tool. So once you have the invert tool over, you're going to go ahead and under blend on the top layer, you're going to want to set it to lighten. So now you'll have a nice glow over your original video, outlining all the edges of the scene. And then if you want slight distortion, as we saw in the original clip, where the red seems to kind of glitch itself in and out sometimes, all you have to do is just go ahead 1 or 2 frames, depending on how much you want it. You can even go more, and just drag it forward. So now, as you can see, you'll have a little bit of distortion on the glitch. This effect can be done with any clip you have. The only thing to caution with is just make sure it's in a high resolution and you don't have so much, you don't have too much going on in the scene, because sometimes the edge effect can get a little bit overwhelmed and it will come out as really like meshy and distorted. So just make sure you have some clear edges. Like in this case, the pilot's mask is clearly outlined with the lights coming from, and the background is very subtle. And so like on the intro shot, you have the clear mask visors starting up, which is perfect indentation. Like just right here, you have that little bit of distortion coming through, which really shows off that edge effect that we're going for. And this can also be done vice versa. So if we go ahead and delete our overlay layer and go back into our first one, if you click on invert again and drag it onto the first clip and do the same trick that we did last time, where you go back into your invert channel and click on saturation, this will make everything a red background. And again, you can adjust things how you see fit. In my case, I'm going to actually brighten it just a little bit more, just so we can see a little bit more what's going on, especially in the background, right when the hangar door opens. And then, as we did before, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the layer and drag it back over the top. So going back into the effects on the duplicate layer, if you go into lumetri color, make sure that you have it set to this low saturation. You want that completely down. Then on the invert, you can actually get rid of it completely. Then we're going to go back and do the find edges effect again, drag over the top, Make sure to invert this guy as well, just so you have those clear, distinct lines. So now, as we did before, go ahead and click on the top layer and change the blend mode to lighten. So now you'll see a nice clear edge effect over our original video. And if you like, you can actually go into your presets under brightness and contrast and drag that to the top. And if you want it a little bit more gritty and distorted, you can bring your brightness up. Let's do 30 on this one. And then bring your contrast up to 30 as well. And that'll make it a little bit more grittier. You can also play around as well with your blend settings. So you can do screen if you like it a little bit brighter. Or if you want to do a color dodge, just to make it the same color as the original video. Or even if you're feeling it, you can do difference just to get that blue come out. In this case, it'll be blue, but whatever color you decide, it'll just be the invert of it. And just make sure you toy around with the settings just to where you want it. You want the foreground to be completely black, just like this. As an added layer of distortion, you can use AE Juice Pack Manager 4 if you do have the pack. And there's this nifty little tool called Glitch Constructor. And if you go in, there's a little bunch of preset glitch tools you can use and tweak. In my case, I like Glitch 11, so we're going to go ahead and use that one. So on the clip that you want to use, in this case it's going to be the Titanfall clip, you're going to want to make sure it's pre-cut to the original length you want, and you want to make sure it's already colored how you'd like it as well. So when the glitch is applied, it'll look just how you like it. So in this case, we're just going to be using this edge effect for the glitch, and so we're going to be taking this video, I'm going to export it and then put it into our glitch effect, and I will come back soon. Alright, it's a little bit taxing on my system. However, once you get that overlay finished, you'll see a nice little distortion layer on top of that edge effect that you have done. So now we're going to go ahead and export this guy. And we'll call this one Overlay Demo. Alright, now that we have our overlay demo rendered, we can now drag it on top of the timeline. And go and unlink this little guy, just get rid of the audio. And then blend mode, you can also go lighten or screen, depending on your choosing. So now you'll see that we have a clear glitch over the original video. Just gives a little bit extra flair. So with this little effect applied, we can see that the glitch is a little bit more intense, and we also have a little bit more curvature to the lines, a little bit more waviness to them, a little bit more analog distortion, I guess you could say. And it just gives like a little extra layer, a little bit more depth. And you can obviously adjust the colors to how you choose. In this case, I'm going with a black and white with the red edge effect. But you can choose whatever color you'd like in that color balance tool that I showed earlier. It is ultimately up to your creative freedom.